Shining Ones, skills on the platform. This is the weekly oracle read for our earth signs: Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. All right, what came out for our earth signs for this week, energy to focus on, to meditate on, is the seventh chakra. Okay, now just so you guys know, the cards come out at random. I just shuffle the cards, and whatever pops out first, that's what I pull up for the week, for the weekly energy. All right, so cards always going to tell the truth. The energy always tells the truth as well. All right, now the seventh chakra and the highest chakra, also called Shahasrara. That's spelled Shahasrara. Okay? It's located at the crown or the top of the head. It is the center of enlightenment and spirituality. And also represents the inner wisdom granted from one's higher self. All right? So clearly, just to kind of touch on this, clearly it's dealing with the higher self. Okay, so a lot of people don't understand is that there's this concept of God and the devil. What people must understand is the concept of the God and devil is your higher self and your lower self. Right? Just to simplify it. I mean, there's no one under the ground, with a pitchfork, ready to take you to a place that they call hell. If you really want to get technical, with all the misery that we see before our eyes every day, that would be more considered hell than anything else. I mean, when you got people running into schools and, shooting at little children around the world, it's ridiculous, right? So if you think about it, that would be more of a hell than anything else. The description of hell, just think about the description of hell, right? And compare it to what you see on a day-to-day basis, right? The way people act, the way people behave, especially towards one another, right? People out here trying to kill, set people up, for just finance, right? And when it's all said and done, what energy are they in? Are they in a higher energy or in a lower energy? Clearly, anyone that has any sense can recognize that those kind of individuals and people are in a lower energy. They're in their lower selves, right? They're not in the higher self. Here's why. Let's move on. As well as the knowledge of the universe Akashic records. Okay, so definitely something that you want to do some research on, because I'm not getting into details on the Akashic records on this video, but I mean obviously I'll give you a little understanding of it. Now, the Akashic records is a eternal, universal, and for lack of better words, eternal. It's within its universal records that we can access through a variety of different means. Meditation, your diet, eating right will cause you to get certain downloads. I know you heard people loosely use that term, but may not have gone into particular details. But with the Akashic records, it's in a sense a database that we can access that answers all questions that anyone would have about themselves, life, and even others, right? Now, clearly, this kind of information is not readily available to just anyone, okay? Because it's been said that, you can come upon certain information, and that information could be so overwhelming to the point where you just don't move. You don't make any decisions. You just continue on doing what you've always been doing. Reason being is it's easier to continue on the path that you've been on. I'm going to say that again. It's easier for people to continue on the path that they've been on, especially if they've been on a certain path and doing a certain things for so many years of their life. There's a good chance they're not going to change unless something drastic happens. Okay? Let's move on. It resonates to the color white and purple. And the gemstones, quartz, okay, opal, and amethyst. All right? So definitely look up those stones, right? If you're trying to get more connected with your higher self, right? These are the stones you want to get. The quartz crystals, opal crystals, and amethyst crystals. All right? Definitely look those up. When it appears in your cards, you are being guided to retreat within yourself, to awaken latent abilities and find answers to questions, and to gain a higher and closer connection to the divine. Right? People don't realize that, we were given certain powers, abilities, and that scriptures teach that ye are gods. Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm not a god." Then so you have some people who are, not so quite, they just don't believe it, right? They'll say, "Well, if you're God, create something." Well, think about it. Don't we create every day? For example, if somebody, let's take it down to the lowest level. Someone that just has a regular job, right? Working in CVS or something like that, Walgreens, Walmart. Now, if those people, you can look at it several different ways. Obviously, people would say, "Oh, that person is dependent on." At the end of the day, we're all dependent in some way, shape, or form, right? But nonetheless, if that person doesn't show up at that particular job to clock in, to put in their particular hours, right, they're not going to be able to get anything out of it. So you are trading your time, your energy, and you're getting something from it, right? Something that you would consider that has value, right? So being that you are getting some sort of value that you can actually use to go get something, right? You are creating. Because if you don't show up and go do what they ask you to do or put in that certain task, you're not creating. I mean, and there's several different ways to create, but that's just one way. That person is creating their income. Even though it's limited, even though it has a cap to it, nonetheless, that person is generating an income. Okay? That person is creating an income because they wouldn't give it to them unless they showed up, did the job as required, as they were told. Right? So you can't knock someone that does that because at the end of the day, someone could be in that position for maybe a year or two. And the next thing you know, they may be in a higher position the following year or in a position where they're earning more and doing more, right? So you can't knock the lowest person on the totem pole. Never knock the lowest person on the totem pole just because they got a regular job. Because that person that got a regular job now could down the road own and run a business. They could easily leverage that money, while they're, covering their regular expenses, their responsibilities, and get to a point where they don't have to work for someone else anymore, right? Let's move on. Well, listen. Also, it says when it appears in your cards, you are being guided to retreat within yourself to awaken latent abilities. Right? So we all have latent abilities, whether we know it or not, whether we try to seek them out or not, or try to improve ourselves to be able to figure these things out to improve our lives, being that we are creators. Okay? Listen, you can create your life any way you want it to be. Like, you can create your life and live it great. Or you can create your life and just create chaos around or in your life. That is the power of creator. Whether you're in your lower energy or you're in your higher energy, you have the ability to create, to destroy. You have the ability to build. It is the person's choice, individual's choice, that being's choice to do so. Right? And then by accessing these latent abilities, you find answers and questions. Listen, the scriptures even teach that you don't need no man or woman to teach you. It doesn't say that specifically, but it says that you don't need someone to actually teach you. Right? It's in the book of John. I don't remember this exact scripture at this moment, but if you just go to Google and just punch in, do we need anyone to teach us? It's in the scriptures. We don't, right? Now, don't get me wrong, right? Because there's certain things that some people know and others don't know. And, usually that's something that's kind of taught amongst, one another. But if you are connected with your higher chakras and everything else is in line, right? All your other chakras are activated and in line, right? And they're going in the right direction. You can access any bit of information, any question or answer that needs to be answered, whatever would be answered for you because it's available to you. It's available to all of us. The only reason why certain people are certain levels higher or lower than others is because they have connected with their higher self, crown chakra. Okay? It says to gain higher and closer connections to the divine, right? You must understand that the divine is your higher self. It's not someone in the skies, right? People don't fail to realize is, yeah, they are considered deities and gods, gods and goddesses from the past. But who are the gods now? The men and women walking around that you see every day. The same people you dishonor, you disrespect, right? Then you probably wonder why things don't go quite your way is because you're disrespecting the gods and the goddesses that are in your face every day. Not knowing that they are the divine. You are the divine. Now, whether you're in your lower energy or your higher energy, nonetheless, you are part of divine. Right? Let's keep going. This can be through meditation or through activities that promote connections to the higher consciousness. As I mentioned, meditation is one of them. There's several other ways to access this higher consciousness, right? But you can't be in a lower vibe and energy and expect to access this kind of information. It's not going to happen. So that means you need to elevate in several different ways. Everyone must elevate. We all must elevate. It is our purpose here. And if you don't fulfill your purpose, you're just going to end up coming back and reincarnating here and going through this process all over again. See me? I'm done. After this, that's it. What am I coming back to this earth plane for? What's the point? Right? From what I see is, I don't see me coming back to this earth plane. This is my last round. Now, if there's a contract that is meant for me to come back, then I probably will. But for the most part, I'm over it personally. All right, let's move on. This can be through meditation, through activities that promote connection to the higher consciousness, such as healing classes. Okay, there's classes that you can take, healing classes, and that's what it is too, because a lot of people walking around here damaged. They're not healed from the shit that they've been through, right? And whether they inflicted it on themselves or they had no control over it, right? It's for us to learn from it, be better, heal, and help others. Passing information on. Information is infinite. Knowledge is infinite, right? So that means we should be learning every single day, becoming better and better and better. If I'm focusing on being better every day, and let's just say I'm only getting 1% better every single day, by the end of the year, in 1 year, I'll be 365% better on any subject. Right? So there's no excuse. No one has no excuse. None. No one. Not one. Not one of us have an excuse as to why you're not seen or in a place where you feel you should be. Maybe there's something that you're not connected. You're not connected with your higher self. So that's what you need to do. So this is what we put out for our earth signs, to get more connected with your higher self. Okay? Also through medical-based work, you can increase and get to your higher chakra, okay? And even church services. I'm not saying that, for you to go to church, but there are churches out there where it's not just going to church and a dress up contest where everybody's just trying to out compete and who dressed the flyest, right? I've been to church. It's been years, but when I was in church, it was always in a sense like, listen, you better come with your Sunday's best, right? So me, I'm coming with the top of the line suit and all that, shoes, everything, clean cut. I'm fresh. I'm pulling up. Somebody gonna be like, brother, that's a sharp suit. You sharp, right? Somebody gonna say something good, right? That's just what it was. People kind of went to church, of course, to communicate with other people as well. A lot of people use it for a place to hook up with other people. But church is a possibility. Yeah, you can get that higher connection in church as well. Now, it's up to you how you choose to reconnect to the divine. But rest assured that you are being guided to do so for healing. So earth signs, listen, Capricorns. I know Capricorns can be very stubborn. Earth Taurus, yes, they can too, and especially Virgos, right? Because you guys are like a mass of land just sitting there, right? So you tend to kind of get stuck in your ways. But I encourage you, if things are not going quite your way, I encourage you to look into the seventh chakra and connect with your higher self versus your lower self. Okay? Not saying neglect your lower self. There's basic things that we need, right? But then when you overindulge, you are not connecting with your higher self when you more indulge in your lower self. Okay? You don't have that balance. So yeah, it's about healing and self-awakening, earth signs, all right? So this is the energy for the week to focus on, is healing and awakening your higher self, self-awakening. Now, the card inverted means, now if you feel that, once again, things is not going quite your way, you could be in the inverted sense of the card, which means there is a closed-mindedness that has resulted from an imbalance of this chakra. Okay? So if you're closed-minded and you know who you are, if you're closed-minded, then this could be the issue that you're dealing with right now. And it's not could be, it is what it is. Okay? Focus on clearing it out to be more open and accepting. If you're not open and accepting, how are you going to expect someone to be open and to accept you? If you're closed off to people, then you can't expect, everything to be open to you. You're closed off to certain things. So there's going to be things that's going to be closed off to you too. You're going to get what you put out. You reap what you sow. The energies you put out is energies you get back in return. So if you're closed off to certain things, or certain energies, or certain people for that matter, right? Certain types, kinds of people, oh, I don't deal with this kind of person. Fine. Now, what you could be possibly seeking could be within those kind of people versus the ones you think that you should be having, or things that you think you should have, right? So focus on being more open-minded, right? Which can clear any kind of imbalances that you have when you focus on this chakra, right? So I'm not going to go any further. That's just pretty much it about the oracle read for our earth signs, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Peace and love.